Hello, this is RC here. It's been a while since I've done a video. I've been a little busy, but my paint jobs are done. Hopefully you can see those. Anyhow, I got a question recently describing order of combat and or referring to order of combat. How do you select it? How does blitz work? Stuff like that. So I'm going to show you a quick little let's make it the Italian turn in the dark brown against the British here, and I'm going to just show you some battles here and how you can select the order, how movement can work. All right, so we have a couple things going on. We have an amphibious assault here shown by the blue amphibious landing. Here we have another one. Over here, the artillery is involved, but it has to wait for the second round to land. So that's that. That's 3 transports for 6 units. 2 of them are Marines, 1 of them is irregular infantry, and then on this one it's 2 regular infantry. The artillery is to land here. You also have an attack overland from these units here into there. And this mechanized can move 1 space and then attack on its 2nd space. So all this stuff is all going to be involved in there. This medium bomber, where the heck were they? They were over here. All these planes were over here. Let's just say that it's easier for explanation purposes, right? So all the planes were over here, and the Navy had started 1 sea zone over. Let's put them right there, where those ones are. All right, just for explanation purposes. So everything here, all this Navy, and along with the transports and all the guys off of it, came out of the Sea Zone 52 down to here. All right. All the other aircraft, including the airborne and the air transport and the strategic bomber and the medium bomber that's going to get involved, all came from over here. So technically, what happens when you move your aircraft carrier is the planes move separately, right? So the carrier moved 1, and then now the planes will move a 1, right? So you need to have a plane on combat air patrol with a range of 1 to be able to find a sub. So we're going to say throw this tactical on combat air patrol to find the subs. And we'll throw this fighter in there as well. All right. And I forgot to add a fighter here. It'll make it more understandable. We're going to throw this also into the fight here. So it's got a movement of 1, 2. It's still got 2 moves left. All right. So there we sit. Now, this isn't that complicated, but I'm probably going to show it on the battle board just to make it a little easier to understand. Yeah, you guys can probably figure this out easy enough. I'm just going to move forward here. All right, let's move this in here and down. So we're just going to throw the sea zone first. In order to fight this battle, right, these aircraft have moved a range of 1 to combat air patrol. We only need 1, so we're going to put the fighter on combat air patrol. You don't need something like this, but it makes it a little easier to understand if you do that, right? So range of 1, remember? 1 on, 1 off. It can stay there all turn, but it needs a landing place, which it has right here, or here. All right, or even here, because this is already Italian. Okay, so now we got a very complicated little battle going on in here, but some of these units here can't land off the transports till these units here are killed first. So we've done a little split. We've got our 2 cruisers with the green, 2 battleships with the yellow for bombardment, along with 6 units that are going to be landing. Your bombardment can't exceed the number of units landing, right? So since I got 6 units here, I can't have 7 bombards. I could add 2 more ships, but for sake of what I'm doing here, I didn't, because we want to make sure that we kill all of this stuff first. right? Because if we don't, then this stuff stays out of the fight. We have two separate fights, the amphibious landing and then the sea battle first. Okay, and we needed the combat air patrol to be able to find the sub. So that's done. Sub has been found. Battle commences. These guys all fight. These guys are with the landing. All right. So, what do we got here? Where did I put my battle boards? I'm just going to move this over here a little bit. I got a bunch of crap underneath here. So, let's do the naval battle first. The attacker is bringing 3 submarines, 2 destroyers, an aircraft carrier which has no hits, a fighter, and a tactical. The defender has a light carrier, a submarine, a cruiser, and a destroyer, along with a fighter. Alright, now there's a reason why I have all these units involved here. Technically, there's 3 first strikes here, but they have a destroyer which negates that. You got 1 first strike here, but it's negated by the destroyers on this side. Done. First strikes only apply in the first round. So they've been negated by destroyers on both sides for all the subs. So there's no first strike attacks, which is a first strike. Anything you hit on a first strike doesn't shoot back at you, right? It's just eliminated without an opportunity to roll, which is why you have to roll attacking and defending first strikes first before the rest of the round. All right, so there's that. Now, do I need to roll this out? Yeah, we'll roll this out just to make it a little easier to understand here. Okay. So, we're going to do the attack. The fleet carrier is over here, but it has an attack of 0. So I'm not going to even bother showing it. It's just there in case it takes a hit. Alright. So, for the attackers, let's start up here. Tactical. 1 at 7. Which is a 2. And they have target selection at 3 or less on any land or naval unit. They cannot select an aircraft. So if that was me and I was going to select a unit, I'd take the cruiser because it hits at 6 and it's automatically only going to be able to shoot 1 round now. Get what I'm saying here? Alright. Now the fighter. Let's just move this over here. Let's roll the fighter. And that's a 1, so that's a hit from the fighter. Round 1, we have air support superiority round. So the fighters must take aircraft. There's only 1 aircraft to take, so that's also taken. Right? That's another, not specifically targeted, but this aircraft first round shoots down planes. So this fighter can still shoot down one of these 2 planes. It'll be the defender's choice or the not roller's choice, unless it's targeted, which is not the case here. So I got 2 destroyers at 4, and that's nothing. 2, a 6, and a 7. 3 submarines at 3. That's 1 more hit. I believe, let me double check, but I believe submarines have target selection at 1. Oh, of course, multiple special rules, but they do have target selection at 1, which one of my submarines got. So if you were a submarine and you had target selection, you'd probably take the one that has the highest hitting power. So you would take the destroyer at target select. And that is it for the attackers. Now the defenders get to roll everything. These are just the casualty bar, right? So the defender is going to roll a fleet carrier, a submarine, a destroyer. So let's do the fleet carrier at 1. That's a miss. The submarine at 3, that's a miss, too bad. Destroyer at 4, that's a hit, not selected. Cruiser at 6, that's another hit, not selected. And now the fighter, you'd roll that separately because it's round 1. Air superiority gets to shoot down a plane if it gets a hit. And it does. So now the defender has to select 2 hits of their choice and 1 aircraft because the fighter had a hit. So I'm going to take the fighter because it shoots at a lower number, and 2 more hits, probably a couple of subs. But since we are playing Global War, you can damage your submarine and still, or your fleet carrier, and still land planes on it. So we're going to do that with 1 hit, and we're going to lose 1 submarine for the second hit, plus the aircraft that was targeted. All right, now we're going to do attack round number 2. So the only survivors from this whole debacle left is a submarine and a fleet carrier. So hopefully we can get a couple hits as the Italians here, because we need to eliminate this fleet before we can move on with the amphibious assault. So tactical at 7, that's a hit, but it's a 4, so it's not targeted. 2 destroyers at 4, and that's a second hit, and that's all we needed. So the fleet carrier and the submarine are dead. So let's do a fleet carrier. Miss at 1, and a submarine at 3 is a 7, so that's also a miss. Hey buddy, how you doing, Pistachio? Another cat bomb, of course. So there was no hits by the British, but they got eliminated. So now we're going to just move these guys back to the board there, the survivors. You like my camera, do you? Okay, so that's that. That one you had to do first before you could do the amphibious assaults, right? So just so that I had free wheel, I did that. However, if I wanted to, I could have done the land attack with all these units first, right? The motorized, the 2 tanks, the 2 mechanized, the infantry, and all the aircraft and that. But then these guys wouldn't have been able to land, right? Which is why you got to select what you're going to attack first. So we did this first. All right. Now, I just showed all my moves here so that it was easy enough to see. All these aircraft have a move of 2 left. All right. There we go. Now, since we got that one done, it's time to do round 2 of attacks. Now, with blitzing, I'm not showing my blitz moves because I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do one, if that makes any sense. So these guys are all done. Now let's do a bombardment here. There's more guys here, right? There's 3, 4, 5 regular dudes and a militia. So I'm going to bombard this one because there's a higher chance of me getting totally wiped out. Also, I may be able to blitz in here with some of these tanks. 1, 2, right? And blitzing in this game, I just got to kill all this stuff in 3 rounds. That's it. All right. So this is going to be kind of complicated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also move this to the battle board. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take some of these green or these blue chips. I'm going to put them underneath the units that are landing off of a transport amphibiously. All right, that way there's not a surprise. Everybody knows what's going on. 2 Marines and artillery. All right, so the artillery is only going to land on round 2 because only infantry attack round 1. So I'm going to keep it right off the board. All right, airborne, air transport. Let's bring all the aircraft along. All right, we're going to bring that. We're going to bring all these. So, a couple mechanized, the motorized, a couple of medium armor. I should have. I didn't bring any light armor because light armor can't blitz in this. I'm also going to move these over because these technically get a bombardment shot. It's easier to show on the board. All right. So bombardments, we got 2 at 4, and we got 2 at 2. Had I had a destroyer, it would have been bombarding at 1. All right. Let's move that down a little bit. There you go. All right. Now the defenders are just these infantry and 1 militia. All right. So you guys know I've kind of color coded my bases here. So these green ones, the blue ones are green. I'm not colorblind, honest. The blue ones are Marines. This sky blue one here is airborne, taken by the air transport, painted in white, and the militia is in yellow. All right. So how do you do this? Well, these bombarding ships get a first strike, so whatever they hit, they kill. This artillery here is still in the water on the transports because it's not infantry class, so it has to wait till the second round to land. So it's off the battle board. So we're just going to roll the 4 shots for the 4 units that are landing amphibiously. So here we are, 2 at 2, no hits, 2 at 4, 1 hit. There we go, 1 at 3, right? So how that works, that's a first strike. And the glory of a first strike means you get to kill something and it doesn't get to shoot back. It was not targeted, so the defender is going to say, I'm going to lose this guy, and he doesn't shoot back, so he's just off the map. Done. He doesn't even get to roll. That's how first strike works. All right. Now, there's no anti-aircraft guns on the defender's side, but technically anti-aircraft guns are the only thing that can shoot this because it flies too high. The strategic bomber is going to drop 3 dice, right? And those 3 dice are just going to be a carpet bomb at 2. So 3 at 2 in 1 round, and then it's going to bug out. The air transport is going to, for 1 round, come in and drop this guy, right? It can still be shot down, but this guy gets dropped technically at the same time that the bombs get dropped, which is also the same time that the anti-aircraft guns shoot. So even if this plane gets shot down in the first round, it still gets to drop its payload. Same with that one. These guys only fight for the first round, so after the first round, these guys are going to bug out. All right, that's kind of why I'm showing them. I got these medium bombers and fighters over here to show the difference in different types of planes. All right, basic game mechanics here. And this video may be too long, so I may have to break it down into little clips to show blitzing or something. But I'm just showing you this is why you need to do your selecting, right? Because if you decided to do your naval battle second, well, these ships wouldn't be here, and these units wouldn't be here, right? And this wouldn't have got first struck, right? Now the odds are a little bit different, right? You just eliminated 4 units in the boats because they haven't had their fight in the sea yet. And it's up to the attacker to pick which battle they do, right? If you hadn't eliminated the Navy, these things couldn't get dropped off, right? Which means that can't happen. Anyhow, it did happen, so we're just going to put them all back on there, but that's just the point I'm trying to show here. All right, now this is done intentionally to be overwhelming odds. So we've already done these attacks. These guys are off the map, off the battle board. They're done. They can't be hit by anything else. It's just a offshore bombardment. All right, the order of attacks doesn't really matter. So we're just going to do this here. I'm just going to wander over to the battle board. Air transport has no attack. Carpet bombing is 3 at 2. We got 1 hit. Got 2 Marines, 2 infantry, and let's just get a bunch of stuff here. 2 Marines, 2 infantry, an airborne, and a motorized, all rolling at 2. We got 1 more hit, so that's a total of 2 hits. 2 mechanized at 3. That's the 3rd hit. And then we've got two tanks at 6. That's a 4th hit. A fighter at 6. That's a 5th hit. And a medium bomber at 7. And a miss. All right. So there we go. We got 2, 4, 5 hits. And the defender only has 5 units, which shoot back. All right. So that was round 1. These guys are still in it because the round's not over. We're going to roll this. That's 5 infantry. And we got 1, 2, 3 hits, right? So technically, if you want to, you can take a hit on anything you have. From the medium bomber, fighter, strategic, air transport, whatever you want, right? It's your choice, except there's an amphibious assault, right? So automatically, attacks to these guys, right, have to be applied to the amphibious assaulting units first. And it's double casualties. However, we got 2 Marines, so that counts as 1. That counts as 1. And there's double casualties on this guy, but there's only 1 of them, so it still only takes 1 hit. All right, so that's your 3 hits. You know what that means? This guy's stuck in the water. He can't land. Because round 1, none of the infantry survived. All right, so we have that over there. Even if I wanted to select the airborne or the air transport instead, I can't. I have to take the amphibious assault guys first. All right. So this is general game mechanics of the battle. The battle is successful here. Everybody's been wiped out. So now what do you do? Well, you got a couple of options. You can blitz with the tanks, and you can blitz with the mechs. This is version 2 rules, so you can also bring along any fighters or tacticals that have remaining movement points and the ability to land. This can move 1 more and then land somewhere else, and I have a carrier that has an opening for it to land on, so that's what it's going to do. All right. The medium cannot follow, the strategic can't, the air transport can't. So these guys are going to be staying in Egypt. These guys are going to blitz. And this stuff all has to land somewhere else. And these guys are all dead. All right. So I'm just going to move my roller here out of the way onto the battle board where we don't really need it. Now this is our blitzing force here, right? So 2 tanks, 2 mechanized. So version 2, only 1 mechanized, 1 for 1, or advanced mechs, 2 advanced mechs for 1 tank, or 1 mech per tank can blitz together if they have the movement, right? And they do because they started next door. If they had started here, they would have already moved 1, 2, and they can't blitz. All right. So now you still have other attacks, so it's up to you. Now, if I'd done this attack first, I couldn't have blitzed these vehicles through Egypt into there. Right? But because I didn't do that attack first, which has 2 amphibious dudes landing, they're not Marines, so they get double casualties, so 1 hit's going to wipe 2 of them out. We're going to bring these tank and mech along and the fighter, which has gone 1, 2, 3, and we'll land over here on the carrier. All right, so that'll be its 4th move. So that's okay. So these guys are amphibious, right? And this is the artillery that got stuck in the water because round 1 was not successful. They weren't alive, so now he has to land on non-combat move. All right, he's stuck in the transport for the turn. Now, I also have the ability to blitz with these guys, right? No, I don't have to, but I can, right? I could blitz into here, but I already owned it, right? So I can't, right? This is 1, can't come back out, right? You can't attack something you already owned, or you already took over, right? You can't blitz as a non-combat move. All right, so that's that. That's how blitzing works, right? So we could take all this stuff along and blitz. Or we could decide, we don't really want to blitz. We want to leave all this stuff behind for defense. But then you can't take this plane, right? So we're going to do that and bring the plane. And the plane's going to land on the carrier, and those are just going to stay there. All right, does that make sense? I hope it does. It's fairly simple, but nothing in this game is all that simple. Actually, it really is. So we got 2 infantry, Marines landing, but they're not Marines, so just regular infantry. Those were misses. We got a tank at 6, that's a miss. We got a fighter at 6, that's a hit. That's all we needed. But we'll do the mech anyway. That would have been a hit too. There we go. So we got what we needed. Now, this is the bad part. Double casualties have to be taken from the amphibious force first. You cannot select anything else. So that 1 infantry, if it gets a hit, those 2 dudes are gone. And I rolled a 9, so we didn't get hit. But if I had gotten a hit, we would have wiped all this off. But since I did not, those 2 stay. All right? Now, does that make sense? And that's kind of why you want to do it. Because if, for example, you had done the attack over here first and blitzed afterwards, and you got your double casualties here, well, you've already done an attack there. You can't do a new attack with a blitz now, can you? Well, I guess you technically could, but the problem is, why would you? Your odds are much lower than they would be if you had that, right? So pay attention to what you're doing. So the end result of this is that. All right, and that guy's stuck in the channel. I'm actually happy that happened. That works out perfectly to show that that can't land. Even though you took the place over, it cannot land because round 1 you had no surviving infantry. I mean, technically, it would have been better if I had 1 more British survivor and it went 2 rounds. Would have shown it better, but that's how it works. So then these aircraft here, non-combat move, we're just going to say they go back to here again, all right? Does that make sense? All right, that's a whole half hour on freaking amphibious moves and stuff like that. And weapon selection, or battle selection, splitting your forces in the Navy, how blitzing works. It may be too complicated all at once, but I wanted to put all the combat things together so that you could see why you would combat select battles in order, right? Like I said, right, if you did the attack here first, but didn't do the Navy attack already, then all the amphibious assault stuff is stuck and it cannot land while you're doing your land attack somewhere else. Put it all together. Do this attack first, then do the landing and the bombardment. The the bombardment knocked a guy off so that you had one less thing to shoot at you. I mean, it works out in the long run, right? Anyhow, that's a basic overrun on how the attacker can select its attacks and why you would do what you do. All right, and why you may select to do one attack before another one, and how if you do one, you can actually eliminate some of your forces from being able to participate in an attack because you've done it in different order. So don't let the defender tell you what order to attack in. Just do it yourself in an order that works for you. But I currently have a game in progress, so I'm going to clean all this crap up and bring her back to where I was before. Those are the only units. Got my cat bomb already happening. Alright, let's put these guys back. And yeah, this is version 2 rules. But from what I've seen of version 3, which is only a couple of play tests, and a lot of stuff has changed and been modified since then, it shouldn't be too much different in the grand scheme of things. So some things like who can follow the blitz may change, but the rules on blitzing will stay the same. It's just how many items can, or how many units can follow and which units may change. Nothing's been written down in solid in stone yet, so I don't want to say anything. And I'm not participating in the play testing, so I'm not going to say anything on that. But I mean, it's an easy, quick video where you just, once you know what the rules are hammered out, you can easily, I'll do a quick video and then you guys will know what I'm talking about. Alright, so there you go. That is selecting order of battle, amphibious assault, and how casualties have to be taken from the amphibious assault first. How some units can be trapped in the boats if amphibious assault doesn't go the way you want, and how you need to select your battles so that everything can come together and be used at the same time. Alright, and that is it. So RC saying see you later and have a good time. And yeah, and if you're wondering, I have changed my name to Rank's Cat Bombs. I was finding my old name of Rank Carcass was something that some people didn't want to say, and I didn't want to have anything that people found offensive, so I changed it up a bit there, so hopefully you can keep people like my mother and others who watch my stuff happy and less offensive. Alright, enjoy.